bottom line is that the picture is very dark. We are struggling. I mean, we're having taxes to pay, we're having monthly charges to pay, there are the loans, and even with the extension of the 20% yearly turnover that the government is willing to give to us to every month in order to make sure that we can still survive. You have places in Paris where the rent is almost as high as 10,000 euros per month. So if you have a monthly turnover of 100,000 euros and you're being given 20%, you're looking at 20,000 euros help. But that doesn't cover the monthly charges, it doesn't cover the utilities, it doesn't cover your loan. So basically, a lot of my colleagues are, as you said, at the breaking point. We know some people who already filed for bankruptcy. We know some people who are on the brink of filing for bankruptcy and also who are basically not being themselves for the past 9 months, and they don't know what the future is going to be.
So what measures would you like the government to put in place? Because, the government might argue their pockets aren't sort of as deep as that. They can't help everybody out.
Well, the measures are difficult to target because so far we've been given a lot of assignments in terms of what we needed to do to be able to reopen last June with our terrace outside. And then after that, of course, before the curfew this fall, we had more measures that came, and we're having hand sanitizing on the tables, we're having distancing in the restaurants, we are opening our doors to air out and things like that. At the same time, none of that has been working. At this moment, I would like to ask our government people to provide us with at least one unbiased independent study that will show that restaurants are indeed one of the main source of contamination. Because as we are now, we've been reopened since June, last June, and we've had close to 9,000 clients who came to our restaurants. And lucky for us, we don't have to declare one cluster that took place in our restaurants. So we are being careful. Our colleagues are being careful. The whole industry is being extremely careful. So more measures is not going to help, and different measures are not going to help either. I think it's also a question of people being responsible, and our clients have been extremely responsible. They know that if we were having too many people in, they would wait outside and make sure that there would be a spot available, and we would not add more tables when they wanted to come. So
Sure,
I don't
there is
think
mixed evidence, though. There is mixed evidence about the effectiveness of how many people can sit in a room, whether the room is aired or not, as well as whether the virus does spread in such spaces. But with people being in a room without their masks on, how can you combat that?
Right, that's a valid point, and it's a fine balance that we should be able to find between our culture, as we call here in France, so-called the joie de vivre, and people going out to bars and restaurants, and also the fact that we don't want, and no one wants to see an overflow of patients going to hospitals and people being in dire straits and knowing that they're going to need serious help at the hospitals. But at the moment, also, we need to think of the industry. We know the hotels are still closed. We know tourism is down. We know that we've been doing a lot of efforts, spending a lot of money to make sure that the new measures that we were given almost every month were implemented. And now we are again at the point where we have to look at almost 2 months to come before we can reopen. And hopefully the Christmas holiday season and New Year's Eve is not going to bring another wave of people who are going to exchange the virus, and then seeing us restaurant owners opening our doors in January and 2 weeks later having to close them again.